What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode on my channel. As always, I'm Jay, and today, guys, I'm finally talking about the highly anticipated or dreaded, depending on what side of the aisle you were on, film review of Captain Marvel, the latest in the 21 long streak now, 21 films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And guys, before I get into anything, I am going to be dishing out on spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, please do see it and then come back to this video, unless you don't care about spoilers or any of that sort of thing. In which case, let's talk about Captain Marvel. So the premise of this film follows Brie Larson's Carol Danvers, who actually ends up being a fighter pilot who ends up suffering from amnesia, gaining some superpowers, and is actually taken in by the Kree force, basically, an alien race of superpowered beings who are basically in this all-out war between themselves and this other alien race who can disguise themselves, called the Skrulls. Upon a certain fight or whatever, she is brought to planet C-53, which, as we know, is Earth. And through that, she ends up meeting Nick Fury, encountering S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and actually uncovering a secret that will actually end the war for good, or so she hopes. I really did enjoy it. It was another solid Marvel film. Nothing groundbreaking, though, unfortunately. And the thing is, too, is I think a lot of that stemmed from some of the small things and tidbits that they tried to throw in there. Borderline Iron Man 2 levels of connectivity, which didn't work out too well and I felt were shoehorned in to an nth degree, which again, certain parts of this did feel way too shoehorned. Now, this is where I'm going to get into spoilers, so I'm going to get into the specifics of exactly what I did like and what I didn't like of the film. What did I like? Okay, so overall, Captain Marvel, what they did, and what they do with every film, is they adapt it for a modern audience. So it's not going to be 100% like the comics. It never is, unfortunately. So how they handled her story was actually pretty well, and in this universe, she is the only Captain Marvel, but in the comics, she was originally Miss Marvel, and Mar-Vell, actually her mentor, played by Annette Bening. Mar-Vell was originally a man in the comics who was originally the first Captain Marvel, but in this, she was just a mentor to Carol Danvers. And I really like the kind of twist where the Skrulls are supposed to be the enemies, but they end up turning out to really be innocents in kind of a bloody war that the Kree essentially are keeping on going, which is in keeping, as I've been told, with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, where the past couple seasons the Kree were the enemies, but additionally how aggressive the Kree race is, especially as depicted by Ronan the Accuser in the Guardians of the Galaxy film. I liked the young Nick Fury in this. He was a lot snappier. He was a lot jokier. He wasn't kind of the hard ass that he was in the later films until the end of the film, which I'll get into a little bit later. Jude Law did a very good job as Jan Rog, I think his name was. The whole Kree crew was pretty cool. It was kind of interesting to see younger versions of characters and villains that we've seen in other episodes of this Marvel Cinematic Universe. Clark Gregg's Agent Coulson's in it, which I thought was pretty cool, and you can kind of see a correlation between how he was as a rookie until how he is in kind of how he was depicted in the later years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some other good points that I really liked about the film. I really enjoyed the 90s nostalgia, as I am a kid of the 90s. I was born in 91. Love the music, love the style, love the callbacks to payphones, dial-up internet, freaking cafes, internet cafes, all the pop culture stuff, the way that Brie Larson was dressed for a little bit. I called the Radio Shack nod. As soon as they showed Blockbuster, I knew that they were going to show Radio Shack literally like 5 seconds right after. Something told me that they were going to get both of those things out of the way for some reason. And one of the most gut-wrenching things that I really appreciated, and it actually opens up the film, is the Marvel Studios opening, where it flips through all the pages and the heroes and whatnot. But this time they ended up putting all images of Stan Lee, who, as we all know, passed away this previous year. That, coupled with his little cameo in this, which is funny because it had to do with Mallrats and reading the script for Mallrats, really did show a nice little tribute to Stan the Man himself, and definitely one of the high points of the film for sure. Okay, now, Brie Larson, I'm sure she's a capable actress. I mean, she won a damn Oscar, for God's sakes. But for one of these things is, I want to get into those little nitpicks that really were scratching at me. First and foremost, every single step in this film, it felt like Brie Larson, at one point or another, actually, was really phoning it in. Her acting chops were not evident in this film consistently. There are points where it was just way overboard, unbelievably silly, and I just couldn't stand it. From there, Nick Fury. Nick Fury, badass, awesome, great guy, Sam Jackson, over the top, awesome. And in this film, playing a younger version, a lot more snappier and a lot more wit. That was cool. However, towards the end, you know how he has the eye patch? Yeah, he gets a freaking cat scratching his eye out. Silly as hell. What about Bogota? I thought Bogota is where he lost his eye, or whatever it was. I thought that there was a much better story, which was set up in a much better Captain movie, aka Captain America the Winter Soldier, but yet we're going here and we're getting in a little bit of a sillier tone, which makes no damn sense. We have Captain Marvel now becoming essentially the center of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in one shoehorn fell swoop because, her jet was called the Avengers, so now she's the one that the Avengers Initiative project was named after. And I don't buy into the whole idea that this was the be-all, end-all of female superheroes, because honestly, as far as her ranking, and by the way, another bad point was she was overpowered AF. Overpowered as... That's all I'm going to tell you. And we've only had one movie, which is ridiculous, and we're already giving her this much power. And I can't get over that. It's like, what is Tony? What is Cap? What are all these people? The Vision, they're all chopped liver. You're going to tell me that Scarlet Witch, who was like the most powerful being technically in the entire universe or whatever possibly, is now going to be outshined by this newbie? I mean, we already had strong female characters, and unfortunately they didn't get their own film before Captain Marvel. And then the fact that the Tesseract just miraculously was showing up in Kree hands in a Kree laboratory, I was pretty sure that Tony Stark's dad grabbed it from the bottom of the ocean in the end of Captain America, the First Avenger. So what's the deal with that? I'm just spitballing here, but humor me, right? It's not bad, but it's not great. Honestly, this film, I don't know, because of all the good and the bad that kind of weighs out each other, I literally feel like this film is number 11 out of all 21 Marvel films. It's like, it's not terrible, it's not my top 10, but it's a very good film, fun ride. It's just those little things bring it down for me. And I know someone on the other end is probably saying, oh, you're just mansplaining or whatever. No, I'm not. I'm actually just being very objective here as best as I can, but I can't omit the things that really rub me the wrong way, which is that. It's like, I feel like if we had watched Avengers Endgame first and gotten to know the character a little bit, then that prequel with Captain Marvel, if Captain Marvel came out later, we probably would have gotten a lot more out of it, because then you probably would have had callbacks or flashbacks that she would have alluded to with Nick Fury and kind of their little adventures and whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like they shoehorned and rushed Captain Marvel's like importance, as it were. I don't feel like she's that important of a character, and she only really became socially relevant more towards the past decade or so, from what I can remember, because when she was Miss Marvel, no one gave a shit about her. The same could probably be said for Iron Man and some other characters, because honestly, growing up, no one was ever really talking about her or worrying about her. Everything was about X-Men and the Spider-Man, and that's how it was growing up, especially with the cartoons. So after taking all the good and bad into consideration, then we jump into this fantastic, pretty much the best end credit scene, or one of the best end credit scenes, because it actually has to do with the next film, which is Avengers Endgame, in which we know Captain Marvel is now going to come back to help the remaining Avengers to take on Thanos. Very good, very tense. I am on board. It's only literally a month, not even, away before we get Avengers Endgame. Oh my god! And then after that, the first few phases of the original phases, or whatever you want to call it, the original Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it is going to be done, pretty much. I mean, everyone's going to be retiring, stopping, whatever it is, they're going to be done. But overall, it's just been a crazy wild ride, and I don't know how they're going to top themselves. I mean, I love these movies, and yeah, it's just fantastic. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the film. Overall, I would say I did have a great experience. It was a decent film, although those little tidbits and things that annoyed me and those nitpicks that I mentioned before did end up bringing the movie down a few notches. But I would still give it a 3 out of 5 stars, because it is, again, typical Marvel Cinematic Universe fanfare. It's great, it's grand, it's got awesome special effects. And I tell you what, seeing her power up like that, I feel like we can definitely get a decent Dragon Ball Z movie if it was ever to be attempted in a serious nature. I mean, she was glowing. She looked Super Saiyan badass for the majority of the tail end of the film, where they had a lot of awesome fighting and special effects. Not to mention, I feel like they channeled a lot of the Christopher Reeve Superman for some reason. And you know what? I give them kudos for that. But that's neither here nor there. And before I go on way too long, guys, that's all the time that I have for today. Again, let me know what you thought of Captain Marvel down below. Were you polarized? Did you hate the movie? Did you like the movie? Did you love the movie? Let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe. And guys, if you are subscribed, please make sure that you click that bell so that you never miss a moment of my content. And please, guys, share, because I am on the road to getting 500 followers starting today. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys taking time to watch all of my videos. Go check out some more. I'm sure I have something that you might want to check out too. And guys, as always, thank you. And until next time, guys, I'm Jay. Take care. Bye.